One way to actually bulk. That's going to drive a lot of people mad hearing that, especially since you've tried the whole, let me just eat as much as I possibly can, and I'm just going to be real with you, dude. A lot of that's cope, people that say that I just want to eat as much as I can. You want to eat as much as you can, you want to eat like crap and just do the whole excuse, I'm bulking, right? But what I'm here to do is to dispel the new popularized term cope, if you've heard of that. So a lot of you, what you've tried, I tried the same thing. Eat as much as you can, and I used to get away with it. So essentially what I would do is I'd go in the gym and I add more and more onto my workouts. Super inefficient, but I used to have the time for it. They would turn into these 3-hour workouts. What ended up happening was my progress stalled for 2 fucking years at least. I mean, I was still making progress, but very minor ones. And if I was eating right, my training was efficient, could have bought back that time. Now, as you get older, you definitely want to make more use of your time. You see the more importance at times. There's only so much of time, and you want to get ahead, especially if you create that competitive edge, which is actually what competing in bodybuilding did in general. I was always kind of a competitive person, but I needed that sport, that outlet, and once I saw I was finally something good at it, you never know until you actually apply yourself. And the gym is one of those things, anyone can get good at applying yourself in it. You may not have the best genetics or whatever, but you're going to get at least the body you want and look and feel your best in your actual skin. That's what I teach people to actually do. So we did all that, little hunter, whatever you want to call him. And we eventually got a coach and then tried to dirty bulk. And he wasn't trying to go there at all with me. But, I just got the coach. I got the good connection. And, I was thinking I could out-train a bad diet. And what I quickly realized was you end up having to do more work. We'll get into that later. But you end up having to get more work just to get the same thing you would get if you did it right. So how do you do it the right way before I go whole in left field and explain why it's the worst fucking devil under the sun? Now, through this whole journey, I figured out there was only one way because I ended up having to do more work just to get to where I would have gotten anyways. So I purposely showed up to a show out of shape just to prove to myself, yeah, I can go on stage even at my worst, so that when I do go at my best, I show up at my best, even if, if there's a minor room for error, right? I know what it's like to feel like to lose. I know what it's like to make a complete fool out of myself, out of people that did respect me, and come back and prove it. And at the end, learning more about self-mastery, how to actually do things for myself and continue to create motivation instead of relying on outside factors, because that's what gives you the completeness. Because self-mastery is one of those things there's always going to be more to, freaking go about this crap. And you're never going to reach the end of it. You're never going to master life until life's over. And I guess that's the ultimate shut the door if you do or don't master it. Which is another thing people don't like to talk about, that whole crap. But we won't get into that. So, purposely punished myself, and my coach purposely made it harder than it needed to be. And the funny part is, I actually looked better, gained more muscle doing this than fucking bulking in a shorter period. And I had people coming up to me in the gym, how did you do it, man? So what did you do? And I'm just sitting here like, bro, I just fixed my sleep. You could tell, people were watching it and stuff, and then they were like, all right, I gotta ask the motherfucker, because I used to walk in there and only just get in, get out. And that was my monk mode phase too, which is so funny. Cut off everyone, get better friends, realize what's important. So, anyways, the whole structure, the systematic process, the rude awakening, what ended up happening. All right, so basically, here's what you need to do. If you want to properly do a bulk and get in shape, you have to do this first. You have to get to the lean foundation. The reason being is the more fat you have, it converts to estrogen, all right? So I learned that out the hard way, and not only that, you become more insulin resistant, and the food doesn't work as well, and you're just not as optimal. People hate this, it's like, I want to eat as much as I can, all that stuff, but then you hit the wall quicker, and then you have to pull the food back to reset your body, because once again, it's kind of like cutting. It learns what you're doing, and then you stall, and then you got to get yourself hungrier again, and then you kind of got to grow into it. So you're going to have to do it anyway, so you might as well just do it right. Now, you can never get this 100% perfect, but you need to figure out how many calories you eat, okay? How many calories do you currently need to maintain? Because most people watching this are in this spot. Unless you're experienced already, which I don't like. You might be experienced, but I promise you probably don't have the physique if you're wondering this question. You probably are either have too much fat and you want your muscle exposed, or you don't have enough muscle and you still have some fat. You're either in one of those two brackets. So for each person, it's the same fucking systematic process. So it's not complicated. I thought it was complicated. I needed guidance. I needed to see it from somebody. And once I saw that results, I started producing the results in other people. So, how do you produce the results? How does you get people asking? How do you get that immediate physique where people respect you? They know you're about your shit, all that good shit that comes with it. You know, shouldn't be your ultimate goal with it. That's a whole different transitionary thing that I teach on here. But anyways, I think everyone should have a good physique. Try to look for your best to maximize what you have. That's how you're going to get the most out of, like I said, connections, respect, all other stuff, and just being able to efficiently operate as a fucking human being. So, found out your calories. Now you want to start in a small deficit. Sounds counterintuitive, but we need to get you leaner first. Then from there you need to go off the percent thing. You can easily calculate this shit. You got the damn internet, all right? Your protein's always going to stay the same. Now it's based on your lean body mass. Your lean body mass. Now they all say go off of your body weight, 1.5 grams, but your whole body is not made up of muscle. It's going to add more stress to the kidneys. It's not going to do what it needs to do, and your calories are not going to be accurate. So you can do the whole in-body scan if you want, but that's somewhat accurate, but a lot of people love to glamorize that too because it's another cope thing. Well, I'm checking it. You're checking the wrong shit. You need one thing and one thing only on that thing. You can track your progress. It can be great. Check it, and then check it at the end or something, or check it halfway through. You don't need to be checking this shit every day, all right? There's a bunch of shit on there. It means nothing. I mean, it means something, but you don't really need to know it. I'm all about efficiency. Make this not as complicated as it needs to be, all right? You don't need to be a nerd about in-body scans. Like, none of that needs to happen, okay? If you really want to go off it, it'll tell you your lean body mass, and you can get close, and that's what you need to eat to multiply it to get your protein. But I'll just give you a really good example. Like, I'm really good at gauging people with this, knowing a good estimate how much body fat they do have. So say you're like, I don't know. You're 20, that wouldn't be a good example. Say you're around the 30% body fat range, all right? There's another reason why this doesn't work. If you're skinny as shit, you're not going to know what your real body fat is on those in-body things. If you're fat as fuck, it's not going to tell you either. So if you're like in the 30% fat range, you know, you're going to have maybe give or take 20, 30 pounds or more to lose, all right? Like, that's a fuck ton. 30%, I wouldn't even say that. If you're like in the 20 to 15 range, maybe you'll have that. But I mean, you should be able to gauge a little bit of how much fat I got, you know. Get as close as you can, all right? So 40% protein, 40% carbs, 20% fat. Or I like to have my fats a little bit higher because that's the first thing when you start to take from it. You start to get the cravings. You start to feel like a dickhead, lash out, all that good stuff. Not really, but you get what I'm saying. That's like the last resort. So you know everything you need to be freaking eating now. You're in the deficit. Cool. You want to progressively decrease things. And a big thing you're going to really hate about this is you have to keep a weight log. You have to keep a weight log. But I want you to get your mindset out of the thing's scary. I'm losing weight. I'm losing muscle. I'm getting fat. Whatever. It's a metric to know what to do. To either decrease you're going to be, when you do these decreases, obviously your calories, but where do they come from? The carbs, the fats. Where am I going to pull this from? If that doesn't work, then last resort, up your cardio. Now, I know there's a lot of people that would rather do more cardio to do more food, or vice versa, less food to not have to do as much cardio. Once again, stop being excessive. Quit trying to beat around it. You just need to develop the discipline, because there's another little hack in here that I'm going to give you in a little bit that'll actually fix that. All right. So you've started this. Now you need to have a good baseline. If you've never done cardio, just start at like 20 minutes. If you're younger, your heart rate needs to be anywhere between 140 and 150. If you're older, it needs to be at 140. Just the stress and everything else, and it needs to be steady state cardio. The stress that it puts on your body, and obviously being older, you don't need to be fucking feeling like you're having a heart attack the whole damn time. Like, it's just excessive. We're trying to preserve as much muscle mass as possible and burn the fat, and that's why we do something like steady state, whether it's the treadmill, the bike, the stairs, outside. Preferably don't do the shit outside unless you're doing half fasted and half indoors. It's just not going to work. You're not going to burn as much as you need. Yeah, I'm doing cardio, whoop-de-doo. I like to do it out there. It keeps me leaner. You can get away with that shit once you get to the lean foundation that I'm going to be talking about. But in the beginning, hell motherfucking no, you can't do it. All right, so you got the 20 minutes of cardio, all that good shit. You got your calories, everything else. All right, so now you're going to start to slowly decrease, you know. You're in the deficit for a little bit. It's not working anymore. Weight log is stalling. It's stalling, all right? That means you need to do something here now. This is what the weight log is for. You need to be doing a check-in. If you don't have a coach, check in. Hold yourself fucking accountable once a week. I don't give a damn if you're lazy about the shit. Oh, there's no point. No, I didn't make as much progress. Bro, you fucking see yourself in the mirror every single day or whatever the hell. You're making progress regardless if you see it or not. When you look back and look, you'll be able to tell. If not, it's always good to have a sober second and a trained eye, because they'll be able to tell things that you can't tell. Besides all that, I usually take from the carbs first to start, and then I'll tap into fats when I need to optimize training and other things as you get deeper in it. That's pretty much the synopsis of it, you know, how that happens and how that works. You'll get good at that. Fats are last resort, but then once again, we need to keep the carbs a little bit higher than the fats. Eventually, fucking nose itching, that's so annoying. Eventually, being just so you can preserve the muscle, you need carbs, and carbs are not the enemy, and most humans do not react as well as you think to just cutting out carbs, only doing fats, only doing meats. It doesn't optimize the body and for the spiking of insulin and things that need to happen. Now, when you get deeper into this, we're gonna do that for at least a couple of weeks. Get in the flow of it, maybe a month at most, but that's starting to drag it. Then you need to throw in the game changer. The game changer. I don't even know if you could read this online. I think you just see it in videos and bodybuilders expect you to know what it is or whatever. It's carb cycling. The infamous carb cycling. Now, me personally, I didn't even know what the hell that was. I tried to ask the dude in the bathroom one day. He's changing, always lean. How do you do it? I just eat what I want. I just train hard. Bro, you don't just train hard and look like that. It doesn't work like that. I know you're eating good as shit. I looked on your Instagram. You got the salad and everything else. That's another thing we'll get into. But, bro, you're not just eating salads for fun and whatever, la. You know, you ain't doing that. So there's a reason behind all that. The reason people do that is because you're going to be hungrier between these meals. As you get deeper, it's going to happen. Suck it the hell up. You know, most hardcore bodybuilding coaches, that's not what I am. I'm more of a self-mastery, look and feel your best, and then transition into helping people getting the best relationships, the best connections, the best supportive kind of friendships around them, as well as figuring out what the fuck they want to do with their life. So you're going to be hungry between meals. Now, you can do the old school, just chug water between meals, which works great. You know, some people, if it ain't broke, it ain't fix it, but that's going to get boring after a while. So I'm one of those people, you know, I don't care if you, to hit your water goals, need to drink 6 bottles of water and then the last 2 be Coke, you know? Count the shit. Diet Cokes. Just count it. You know, you can't be one of those dudes walking around with carrying a Coke in the gym. I was baffled the day I saw that. A guy was drinking Coke to start his day. You know, good God, acting like it's real Coke or something. And as Mo Dogus used to do back in the day, which he still does, the big-ass bowls. And I guess this guy is still starving his ass off to this day just for the fun of it. Those big-ass lettuce bowls, whether it be the iceberg lettuce, it's good as shit. You really shouldn't be doing it, but it's good as shit. You know, a lot of the stigma is just this darker green ones. I think you can get away with iceberg and celery. Also spinach. Bell peppers adding out to meals, onions, fucking salsa, you know, hot sauces need to be doing that, any kind of 0 calorie bullshit that, you know, the Walden Farms that you can add on there. They even got Chipotle Ranch. I don't even know if that brand even still exists. Maybe it just gave so many people stomach problems, they're just like, fuck this shit, my stomach hurts too, I'll close up shop. I don't know. I haven't seen that stuff in the stores now that I think of it. So those, you can do those. Those are going to be your little hacks, because the carb cycling, those are going to be rough. No one likes it. It's basically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because I know you're wondering that. You cut the carbs in half. Say it's 100 grams of rice one meal, well, then it goes down to 50 pretty much. That's the premise of that. And then when you get really deep, you've tried it all. You've done what you've done. You don't have much more calories to take from, because there's only so much you can do. When you reach that point, that's when you need to bump it up for a little bit of time because your body learns what it's doing, or you need to throw in a cheat meal. But that is steep in it. So you probably won't even have to do it, to be honest, because to get to that abs and to be the most optimal, you probably won't even fucking have to do that. I didn't even have to do it. Like, unless you're in contest prep trying to get to 4%, you're really not going to need to refeed. Just really not. It can happen if you get really, it really depends on the person, their stats. Because if they've already are at a point and there's only so much you can take, like to be in a deficit is 2,200. I mean, there's only so much you can go down. There's only so much wiggle room. So you might have to play a little bit, you know, whatever you want to call it, hardball. You know, like you're going to go shitty with your fucking body. Get the hell in shape, bro. The worst case scenario, you do 0 carb days instead of cutting it in half. And at that point, because you should be slowly decreasing, which the nose thing, God almighty, is driving me nuts, decreasing or increasing slowly the cardio too when you've last resorted to the other stuff. At the top end, you should be doing an hour. You should be doing an hour at the end of this, 60 minutes at most, an hour. And I would say split it up, you know, 30 fasted or 30 fucking after you work out. Do not sit in there and do an hour unless you really fucking want to. I don't know who the hell would want to. Like, don't do that shit ever. And doing more than it really is excessive unless you're trying to get to contest shape, and that's just not sustainable. So you've done it all, and the crazy part is you're going to be looking back at this like, holy shit, Hunter was right. I got bigger and leaner at the same time. Now, the reason it works is because your body's never been this most efficient. It's not used to this amount of protein. It's not used to the training. It's going to grow. It makes no sense, but it's optimal with protein. Your fucking testosterone's going to be more optimal. Your insulin sensitivity is going to be more optimal, especially this carb cycling. It really fucking does. Everything will be optimized. You'll be able to tell it. Now, when you start to bulk, because you already did add some muscle, you're going to add muscle, but it's not going to be fucking insane, right? I mean, it may be insane. Depends on the person. It may be fucking insane, depending on your starting point. But once you got to the lean foundation, that is the most ideal state to be in. You can figure out how much you basically need to maintain from there by reverse dieting, which is slowly increasing everything, which is a whole nother video, but it's basically the opposite of this. Then from the reverse diet, you'll go into bulking, and it'll be pretty much the opposite of this, and less cardio, and you'll be able to stay lean while growing into food increases. And once you get to a point, you're not going to be hungry, and you will have to force feed a little bit, and you may have to take off the gas a little bit, get hungrier again, and then get back to regrowing. But you can absolutely do it, and that is the most optimal way to do it. Same thing if you're trying to fucking add as much muscle as possible too. You cannot be eating everything under the sun. Those are the dumbest things ever. You feel like crap, you look like crap, everything's like crap in your whole life. This is the only way to bulk. Like, the only way to get to where you can bulk, should I say, right? But the hook's going to be controversial. So, you're in the right spot for it now to figure out how to actually get in the best shape of your life, to look and feel your best, and then actually have that sculpture looking like, body, but that's for a whole nother video. And that's exactly what I'll teach you on this. And mastering yourself, not just being a carrier on the jug and all that other stigma that lifting weights has and why people don't want to lift. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. You don't have to be one, and if you really want to get that far with it, then you really have to push. But don't listen to people that don't want to get in shape.